A very common question asked by people who reach out to me on Facebook, on our YouTube channels, and other social media channels is that how do you calculate the amount of calories that a person needs to eat? How do you know that? How do I know how much calories should I eat? Some people who knows a little more about fitness and health and who has read a little more would know a term called BMR or basal metabolic rate. Basically, it's a number which kind of denotes how much is your metabolism, what is your metabolic rate. That's called BMR, basal metabolic rate. Some people ask me, how do I know what is my BMR? And at what calories should I be eating to gain weight or lose weight or gain muscles? So I thought let me address that, the idea of calories, and more importantly fixing calories. How do you know how much should you eat? Before we go any further into this topic, I would request you to please like the video, like and follow the page if you have not done that already. All right, so regarding calories, so we have discussed umpteen number of times, calories is through which we get energy for our body. Basic three types of macronutrients called protein, fat, and carbohydrates, from which we get calories. Protein and carbohydrate per gram gives 4 calories, and fat per gram gives 9 calories. Something that we have spoken so many number of times. You must be bored hearing this from me. So that's how the calories come. Okay. So how do you understand calories? Let's take an example. One whole egg, a hen egg. Okay. One whole egg is roughly 6 grams of protein and 5 grams of fat. So 6 grams of protein would be 6 into 4. Per gram is 4 calories. So 6 into 4, 24 calories. And 5 grams of fat also. So 5 into 9. Per gram of fat is 9 calories. So 5 into 9, 45 calories. So 24 calories coming from protein, 45 calories coming from fat. So put together around 69, 70 calories is what a boiled egg has. Now, of course, if you make an omelette out of it, if you add a little bit of oil, calories will accordingly change, will increase depending on the kind of the food that you're or stuff that you're put into making that omelette. The funny thing and the most important thing that I want you all to remember is that, let's assume you bought a whole egg, a hen egg from Cochin, one whole egg from say Bangalore. Okay, you give both these egg to a lab to calculate the amount of protein and fat in it exactly and calculate the calories. They both may not be the same. They roughly both will be around 70. Maybe the one egg might be say somewhere around 65, 68. The other one might be somewhere around 70 to 73. But on an average, if you buy 1,000 eggs and you check it, the average calories will be somewhere around 70. Okay. So calories as a concept is something which is also statistical in nature. You can't really pinpoint and say this is exactly the amount of calories that a hen egg has. Okay. So these are all approximations. Okay. So why am I saying this? That these are all approximation. No point worrying too much about it because it's not going to take anywhere to kind of exactly measure, exactly know how much calories have you eaten and all that. Okay. So that's how you get calorie in. So we have spoken about calorie in. Now let's talk about the calorie out. Now, calorie out, the amount of calories that you spend or the amount of calories that you burn. So also there's another technical term. It's called TDEE, total daily energy expenditure. Okay, it's a combination of a few things. One, obviously your exercise, the activity, your exercise activity. You go to a gym, you're running, you're swimming, you're playing a sport. All these things form part of a exercise activity. Another part of your calorie expenditure is non-exercise activity, such as like what I'm doing right now. I'm talking. This is not exercise, but I'm spending energy while I'm talking to you, right? I'm moving my hands. All these things needs energy. Trivial, but it is energy. So that kind of a calorie burn is called non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or NEAT, NEAT, non-exercise activity, to put it very simply. There's one more part called thermic effect of food. Let me explain this in a very simple manner. How do I put it? Suppose if I've eaten idli, okay, to digest, for body to digest that idli and get calorie out of it, body needs to do some work, right? So body needs to spend some amount of energy so that it can extract energy out from that idli, right? So per gram of carbohydrates, though it gives 4 calorie, body needs to spend some amount of energy to extract that. So net calorie will be slightly lesser than 4 per gram of carbs. Okay. So thermic effect of food is the amount of energy that the body spends to digestion and extract calorie and all that. Thermic effect is different for protein, fat, and carbohydrate. Protein has the highest amount of thermic effect, and that's also the reason that protein is a lot more satiating, because it takes a lot more time for our body, a lot more effort from our body to digest protein. Same, the very reason that the elderly people tell you not to eat too much of protein or fat rich food when you are feeling sick, right? It's probably because of this reason. Now there's one more part, very important and a substantial part of your calorie expenditure. That's called your metabolic rate or basal metabolic rate or BMR. Put it very simply, this is like if you're not doing nothing, if you're lying down in a shavasana, not doing anything, your body still needs energy to sustain life, because your heart has to pump blood, your lung has to expand and contract and allowing you to breathe. Your internal organs are functioning. So for all that, your body needs energy. So that's basically a body amount of energy that the body spends to sustain life. That's called basal metabolic rate or BMR. Okay. So let me share my screen with you to explain something. Right. So this is the total daily energy expenditure. BMR, if you notice, substantial portion of your calorie expenditure, roughly around 70% is BMR. Of course, these numbers are indicative, okay? 10% is TEF or the thermic effect of food. 15% is NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That is 15%. Exercise activity thermogenesis 5%. Obviously, it depends. If a person is very active and is doing more physical activities and very, is a sports person, then exercise activity percentage will be substantially more, a lot more than 5%. So it depends, okay? So this is the total part of your components of your total daily energy expenditure, okay? So that's how this thing. So now comes to the very interesting point. How do you know is your BMR? What is your BMR, right? So that's where I want you to take to another slide, which basically talks about a formula. So this is a formula, okay? So the very famous Harris-Benedict equation, which talks about how much is your calorie expenditure for as part of your metabolism or the basal metabolic rate for a man and for a woman. So there are multiple formulas, the two formulas which actually got revised slightly little later, which got further revised again. So the most important thing that I wanted to talk about here is that these formulas are there to kind of give you an indicative number of the amount of calories that a person would burn as part of the basal metabolic rate. But at the end of the day, very important to know that these are all formulas. Let's assume two people of exactly same height, same weight, same age, same gender. If you measure the BMR, if you check the BMR, they may not always be same, right? There are parameters outside what I had just shown you in the formula, which also decides BMR. Even your general mood kind of determines your metabolic rate. The weather or the temperature outside is also a component. The kind of food, the amount of masalas in your food also perhaps might have an impact on your metabolic rate. Okay. So what do I mean? Why am I saying all these things? There is no point. So if I say if person's basal metabolic rate is 1800, does not mean it is 1800 today and tomorrow and day after. It is going to be a broad range. It's somewhere around 1700 to 1900. But if you take an average of like 1 month or 2 months, it will be somewhere around 1800. That's how it works. Okay. I also mentioned in my previous video that if your body composition improves by improving your lean muscle mass or lean body mass or muscle mass, then your metabolism improves, which is basically your BMR. So the difference between a muscle and fat is that fat stores energy, right? Muscles does the opposite. Muscle spends energy. Higher is your muscle mass, higher is your energy spent. So if your lean muscle mass is higher, your BMR or metabolic rate is also higher. So while the BMR kind of give you a broad equation, you need to understand these are all approximations to understand where your metabolic spend is going to be. But it is at the end of the day depends on so many parameters, which is not even worthwhile even measuring, and you're not even going to even get an exact number. So how do you know how much calories should you be eating? Be very mindful about it, and it's not very difficult, okay? Let me tell you how. You need to understand how much of your centimeters around your belly is increasing and how much of your weight in kilograms is increasing or decreasing, depending on the amount of food you have eaten, the amount of exercises you have done, and the amount of physical non-exercise activities such as walking around, moving around, etc., that you are doing in a day. Like for example, right now it's a lockdown going on, so non-exercise activity of a person, specifically salesmen and other people, have reduced substantially, right? So excuse me. So that's how a person will understand the total energy expenditure, and that's how a person should be able to balance calorie in versus calorie out, right? Linking back to our energy balance, if your calorie in or energy input is more than what you spend, excess energy in the system, which gets stored as fat. So if there is a calorie surplus, meaning if you eat more than what you spend, you gain weight. That's common sense. Similarly, if you want to lose weight, what do? You do the opposite. You eat lesser than what you spend, right? Or another way, you can also spend more than what you eat. Both essentially does the same thing for you. So there is a calorie deficit which is created, and you end up losing body weight. With right kind of a planning, nutrition planning, right amount of protein, etc., you can make sure that kind of a weight loss is in a healthy manner, wherein what you lose is only body fat without losing muscles. So long story short, there is no point exactly pinpointing, exactly measuring how much grams are you eating, how much calories are there in it, logging into an application, it's kind of a paralysis by analysis. So I would urge you to not get into paralysis by analysis, but be mindful about what you eat. You need to understand, okay, so for me today, when I see 100 grams of chicken, I know how much does 100 grams of chicken look like. I might be off by around 10-15 grams, but that's all right, right? So understanding it on a larger perspective is what actually helps to meet your goals and maintain so for rest of your life. Okay, you need to understand that there is a difference. This is not like a race. It's like running a marathon. Fitness is not like a 100-meter, 200-meter race. It's like running a marathon. You need to keep on running. Yeah, you need to keep on running, and it's not that it's a never-ending thing, right? You need to be healthy and fit, and be physically and mentally fit for rest of your life. So for that, it is also important to be not too much concerned psychologically, always bothered of what food are you eating, how much calories is it, have I eaten 10 calories extra, or have I spent 10 calories more? So let's not get into all that. Okay, I hope this was helpful. This was in fact a question asked by a few of you on Facebook and on YouTube. I hope if you have any questions or doubts, do comment here and ask. I'll be more than happy to answer that. And if you have similar kind of questions, when you guys ask these kind of questions, these are all topic ideas for me. These are all my content ideas for me, so that I can speak about it and put it up as live like this on various social media channels. I hope you guys know what we do. We are an online health and wellness company. We can help anybody across anywhere in the world become healthy, not just lose weight, but also, look younger, manage lifestyle disorders such as diabetes, cholesterol, thyroid, PCOD, fatty liver, uric acid, hypertension. These are all related to lifestyle in one way or other. So that's what we do at Nuvo Vivo Center for Obesity, Lifestyle Disorders and Research. All right, so that's it from me today. As always, stay healthy, stay fit, stay young, and more importantly, stay safe. Take care. Bye.